Hi, my name is Eric Barringer, and I'm currently a biology and MLS major at Holy Family. And for this informative speech, I'll be going over the microbial world, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. So, the microbial world is basically just anything that is a microorganism, and a microorganism is essentially anything that has to be seen under a high powered microscope. So, think bacteria, fungus, protozoan, amoebas, basically anything that is too small to see with the naked eye. Most of you probably are familiar with bacteria at least, and that's what I'll be covering primarily in this speech. So I will be doing my clinicals at CHOP and St. Chris's soon. Those are both children's hospitals, and very much looking forward to it as I actually get to do what I love, and that's use all the high-powered machines, microscopes, and everything to identify bacteria and figure out why the person's sick. It usually always comes down to microorganisms for all infections and disease. So you just have to be able to culture it, identify it, and figure out what type it is. So as mentioned earlier in class, I think a few weeks ago, I do culture E. coli at home. I also culture Bacillus anthracis, which is known as anthrax. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the anthrax attacks on the government, certain government officials. It's very deadly if you inhale it, almost always fatal. So yeah, I'm going to be the guy talking about good bacteria and how bacteria is amazing. So hope you're excited. So almost all of the microbiome takes place in the digestive system, and the microbiome is essentially just any community of bacteria that lives inside of you. It's always in the digestive system almost all the time. So that includes like your stomach, your intestines, liver, pancreas, all those things. And what these bacteria do is really help in digestion, and they absorb and produce certain vitamins that are great for your body. And they also help the immune system and fight off certain diseases. So the good bacteria is E. coli, surprisingly. As long as it's in your digestive system, it's good. If it's anywhere else, if you inhale it, especially in the respiratory system, it's bad because it goes wild and basically just destroys everything. But in your gut, it's perfect. So, as I said, they mostly just inhabit the stomach and they aid in production and metabolism. So, a lot of research, especially according to this article I found by Dr. Relman, has been showing that the microbiome is a very huge part of the human health level and nutrition and everything. Basically, if you want to stay fit and live a very long time, it all comes down to the microbiome. So that's really just a brief summary of the good bacteria. I will go over it more in class, but then I want to move on to the bad bacteria. The biggest example, and the one I'm sure most of you are familiar with, is Clostridium difficile, or C. diff. Basically, it makes your shit smell like a decaying body, and it's terrible. It's awful. Yeah, just never contract it, basically. I have a girlfriend who is an RN, and she's been working at the hospital for like a month now, and she's run into a few C. diff patients, and let me just say she completely backs up all this, where it just smells like a dying body, and it's terrible. So yeah, don't contract these bacteria. The way you contract them is eating raw foods. It's basically the biggest one is eating raw, undercooked foods. So always cook your foods, always. And the main way to get rid of them is diagnosing, which I would do in a clinical, diagnose which bacteria it is and providing a certain antibiotics for it. So then I move on to more of the data and research aspect of it. So human diseases have been shown to be very alter the microbiome in general. So certain diseases and infections like irritable bowel disease, Crohn's disease, anything with the digestive system has been shown to be like an imbalance of the microbiome or too many bad bacteria in your gut, basically. I'm sure if you've read commercials before of too many bad bacteria that or too many good bacteria, basically just eat healthy and you'll be fine. The only real like imbalance you'll have is if you're eating raw undercooked meat or just have a really poor diet where you're eating at McDonald's every day or something like that. So just stay away from that. And from more of the research from Thompson in the article "Are You Healthy?", it basically says the human microbiome has been shown the correlation with the mental health of a patient. So this is like a new discovery, so there's still a lot to it, but like a lot more to know. But it has been shown that the gut microbiome is a direct correlation and influences the mental health of a person. So this can include like depression, anxiety, things like that. So bacteria really do play a huge part in our overall health. And finally, the ugly part of the presentation. This is like a brief one I just want to mention. So there's things called demodex, which live all around your face, the skin of your face, everything. Too small to see with your human eye, obviously. You have to see them with a microscope. And I'll show it in class because it's great. They look really beautiful and amazing. Um, no, they look terrible. But basically what they do is they're called head mites, and they go around collecting dead skin and basically anything on the body or the face that like it could eat, it will, and they're actually good for you. At least like a small quantity of them. Most people only have like a few 100,000 maybe somewhere around there. Too much of them, too much of anything is bad. Basically in the microbiome, like too much of a certain bacteria or too much of a certain microorganism. So yeah, they basically just go around cleaning things off your face, and they're there all the time. And they're like you have your own little pets basically, all around. And then there's obviously like versions of it that are bad, like head lice and things like that, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with, are all really bad for you. So, in conclusion, the human microbiome is very important, and the microorganisms like bacteria play a huge role in our health. And there's been research to show that it plays a role in our mental health as well. So, it's incredibly important that we maintain a good human microbiome. And in class, I'll be showing you slides and everything to help you like better understand it because it's a lot of information to take in just by me talking. So it will help a lot with better understanding it. And, yeah, that's it for